This is a video response to David Semmes. I was very happy to see a video from him today because it meant I could do a video response to him, which is cool. Now, the subject or the title of that video was Player Entitlement, and it stemmed from a Facebook discussion that I saw the beginning of, where someone came on and described two things. One, that he'd been involved in playing with a new group that had experienced a total party kill, and two, that the other players were so upset by being killed by the game master that they quit and never want to play with him again. Now, the reaction to this is predictable. There's a large group of people, as David said, that went for the idea that this is an example of player entitlement, and that, they didn't plan, they didn't prepare, they didn't use good tactics, and so the total party kill was earned and hopefully will be part of their learning process toward playing better in the future, more tactically, more sensibly. And a certain part of this that I agree with. There's responsibility for approaching a scene from all the people around the table. So I also agree with David there. Now, David focused more on the game master's side of the screen in putting forward the idea of, was death the only option? And actually, when I was listening to his video, the title that came to my mind was, Not All Roads Lead to Murder. So I think this is very true. What options were there? If we're criticizing the players for, in a sense, not taking it seriously, not putting themselves into the scene as if it were real, not taking the proper precautions, not approaching the scene like their occupation would indicate. They're just advancing the character as an excuse to roll dice and receive victory, right? If that's what was going on, they definitely, were not taking the game seriously, and they should expect to fail. But what triggers were there to take the game seriously? What other options presented themselves? Were there piles of bones, and was there blood spatter to indicate, danger lies this way? You might want to take precautions. Was there? Well, at this point, we don't know. But then the question becomes, should there have been? Okay. What environmental, situational, narrative options were open to them? And then, win or lose, is death the only outcome of violence? The player characters beat the ogres. We know that they're going to kill them, right? Why should this not also be true for the ogres? But from the narrative point of view, we say, well, is this interesting? Is death interesting? Well, it makes the end of the story, doesn't it? We have to start a new story, or we have to assume that this was some kind of prelude in the story. Right. Now, coming as I do from my background, I don't mind it when players' characters die. And when players play with me long enough, I feel like they don't mind it either. Story doesn't necessarily end because we're both discovering it in play. But the point is, for those characters, this story is over. If your intention is to tell a story with those characters, or discover a story with those characters, that story's now over. If that's not what you want, more options need to be available. But beyond that, just as the game master, no matter what your style is, representing the world as your character, is death the only outcome? Is death the only option? Was there nothing else that could be done before that scene or after that scene? Do the ogres automatically have to kill the party, or can they tie them up and hang them in a larder for later eating? Can they soften them up? Can they boil them a little bit? Can they marinate them for a while? Are there things that could have brought on another scene, a scene that would have allowed some kind of role-playing, some kind of farewell, a noble sacrifice, an escape attempt, something, anything? Were options available? Should options be available? How do we make options available? How can we learn to see new options as players? How can we learn to see them as game masters? I think this is a great line of discussion to go down. Not so much the pejorative, they didn't play right, he didn't run the game right, but okay, this is a situation. Where can we go from here? And I think that David's video sends us in that direction very nicely. So, video response. Very happy to have this opportunity.